I'm the Lonely Necron, and welcome to my basement. So today, the drukhari have come and hit up a castle in the Fairy Kingdom and laid waste to a good portion of the inhabitants. And just as they're about to leave the castle, they hear this, I don't know, a crunching noise, I guess. And they turn around and see a bunch of weird insect-like creatures charging at them over the hill. Which in this case is like a vanguard of Tyranid forces. So we'll do some drukhari tyranids today. So for Christmas, I got this Lehman Russ tank. And yeah, I put it together pretty quick because I definitely like the tanks for the Imperial Guard. So this guy's going to join the ranks. Yeah, first game in January will be Imperial Guard Slaanesh. So any help that the Imperial Guard can get will definitely help them out. Alright, so we have our castle, our Fairy Kingdom village, the dead gnomes, the ones that resisted, never resist. So the drukhari will be back here somewhere on this side. And the tyranids will be coming across from these two hills here and probably that little valley in between. So we'll meet our happy little armies. Alright, so our Dark Eldar warband for today is thusly. Led by a succubus. We also have 10 witches, 10 Kabbalite warriors, 5 incubi, 3 reavers, a venom, a talos, and 2 groups of 5 scourges. So because these guys were like in the process of leaving, the incubi will be in the venom, and the 2 groups of scourges have already flown off into their deep strike area. Let's see. Oh yeah, combat drugs. So succubus gets +1 to her toughness. The witches get +1 to attacks. And the reavers get a +1 to strengths. They also get a power from pain bonus each round, and we'll talk about that when we get to the round thing. Alright, so I don't entirely remember the lore as to how a Tyranid invasion starts for a planet, but for the Fairy Kingdom planet, for right now, this vanguard grouping of Tyranids will be today's experience, I guess. We got 5 10-man groups of Gene Stealers, and then 2 Broodlords. Each one knows Onslaught. They're just going to be basically charging over this hill. Yeah, this should be a good experience, actually. Super curious, because drukhari and Tyranids haven't fought before. Yeah, good times. So I'll set up deployment, and we're going to play this game. Alright, so the Dark Eldar were in the process kind of sort of leaving. So everybody's kind of bunched in here at the back. Got the Kabbalites kind of in the front here. The Venom with the Incubi inside. The Talos at the back. The Witches and the Succubus inside the castle. With the Reavers on the far left. The Scourge are still up in the air doing their thing. So for the Tyranids, each of the hills has 2 10-man groups of Gene Stealers and a Broodlord on it. And there's 10 Gene Stealers in the middle. So I did actually kind of roll an attacking roll, I guess, to see if Tyranids would attack first or if drukhari would have the chance to attack first, but the Tyranids won the roll. drukhari didn't steal, so yeah, tyranids get to do their crazy movement thing first. I did forget to mention about the tyranids that if it can take toxin sac, which I think is everybody, so they all have toxin sacs. Yay poison. Which is ironic because the drukhari also are all poison. That'll be a good time. So tyranids. Movement. Alright, so all of the tyranids advanced. Everybody that was on the hill made it off the hill. This broodlord just kind of barely made it off the hill. None of these guys have any guns. Nobody's close enough to charge. Casting onslaught isn't going to help anybody. Nobody's close enough to smite. So really all these guys can do is just move this turn. But granted, 50 gene stealers and 2 broodlords coming at you. It's really all they need to do. The fear factor alone is enough to, make anybody. Okay, maybe not the drukhari, but almost anybody, somebody. Imperial Guard, that too, yeah. Okay, not my Imperial Guard, but somebody's Imperial Guard. Damn it. Either way, it's the drukhari's turn. Movement. So the drukhari's power from pain for this round is a 6-up feel no pain. Movement wise, the Kabalites, the Venom, the Talos all moved up to within decent shooting range. The Witches and the Succubus came out of the castle. The Witches are definitely in charge range. And on this side of the castle, the Reavers also moved up into shooting range. No psychers for these guys, sadly, so shooting phase it is. So in terms of shooting weapons, poison versus tyranids, they're not doing too badly. The Kabalites killed one of these gene stealers. Between the two of them, the Venom and the Talos killed 4 of these gene stealers. And the Witches with their pistols killed 3 of these guys. The Reavers didn't even hit. It was sad. Alright, so the Witches are going to take the plunge, and they're going to charge into these gene stealers here. Okay, so yeah, they absolutely did not make an 8-inch charge. But on the plus side, since none of the tyranids in this game have any guns, they didn't have to suffer overwatch, so plus side, minus side. I mean, the minus side is that it is now the tyranids' turn, and they're definitely going to be close enough to charge, so there's that. Alright. Tyranid movement. Okay, so pretty much everybody just moved forward. This far group of tyranids up here advanced forward. But everybody else just got really close. These guys especially got close to the Witches because they look tasty. So the psychic phase, this broodlord is going to attempt to manifest the smite on the Venom. It's it on a 5. That's a 7, so D3 damage. Does 3 damage to the Venom. I'll deal with that in a second. So this broodlord is going to try and manifest onslaught on the tyranids that advanced. Gets that on a 6. Got it on an 8. So these gene stealers, they advanced, and now they can charge. Yay! Charging. Well, since these guys have no guns, they don't get to shoot, so it is indeed the charge phase. This group of gene stealers is going to charge the Venom. These guys are going to charge into the Kabalites. These guys are going to charge into the witches, and I guess they're going to have to multi-charge into the succubus since she is there. And then these gene stealers are going to charge into the reavers. Alright, this is going to be a much different landscape in about 20 minutes. It'll be a lot less time for you guys. Alright, that was some super ridiculous stuff. Everybody except for this group of gene stealers made their charges. Because of space constraints, these gene stealers weren't actually able to engage with the succubus. But everybody else died. The Kabbalites died. All of the witches died. The reavers died. It was a sad day. That negative 3 AP really does just destroy stuff, though. Oh well. So that'll take us to the drukhari turn. For movement. So after kind of getting mauled last turn, definitely time for the drukhari, I don't know, their other half of their grouping to come in, so the Scourges dropped in on the Tyranid back line here. The Venom dropped out 5 Incubi, and then moved over here. Talos didn't move at all. And the Succubus didn't move at all. Alright, so the shooting phase for these guys. Alright, so the Dark Eldar are kind of putting in some work on this side. Doing good work, actually. So the Venom and the Talos killed off all but one of this group of Gene Stealers. And then the 2 groups of Scourges killed off the blue Broodlord that was over here. They're whittling away this side anyway. So the Incubi and the Talos are going to charge into these Gene Stealers. And the Succubus has her work cut out for her. She's going to charge into these Gene Stealers. So the Talos, well, okay, everybody made their charges. The Talos and the Incubi managed to kill off the Gene Stealers that were over here. The Succubus. The Succubus killed... She killed 2 of these Gene Stealers, and then they did indeed do just enough damage to kill the Succubus. Sad face. Okay. That does make it the Tyranid turn. So, movement for them. So, this side of the Tyranids, pretty much the only ones left alive, pivoted and turned around and headed back towards the Scourges. This small group is advancing over towards these guys. The farthest group over there, the ones that killed the Reavers, are advancing probably around the castle. The Broodlord and these Gene Stealers just moved over. And the one remaining Gene Stealer on this side is getting closer to the Incubi. Alright, so the Broodlord, I guess he's just gonna smite those guys. Gets it on a 7. And does 3 damage to them. Which I think kills 3 or kills 2. I don't know. I'll figure that out. For all the terror and the fear-inducing things that the Dark Eldar are portrayed as in the lore, from what I hear from the lore channels, these guys are kind of weak on the tabletop. I mean, 3 toughness and 1 wound. Yeah. So yeah, a 3 damage smite kills 3 of these things. That's unfortunate. So charge phase. The Broodlord and the gene stealers next to him will charge these two remaining scourges. And this last remaining gene stealer over here will bravely and probably suicidally charge into the incubi. Maybe he can kill one of them. We'll see how it goes. So everyone made their charges. This last gene stealer did manage to kill off 3 of the incubi before the Claybex killed him off. The Scourges did manage to kill 1 of the gene stealers, but then they were just torn apart. Who needs guns when you got teeth and claws? Alright. Well, that'll make it the drukhari turn. Movement. So last round I forgot their power from pain. So this round it's +1 to hit in the fight phase. Maybe that'll help, maybe it won't, I don't know. So the Scourges have flown up to this hill here. The Venom moved up a little bit. The Incubi and the Talos also moved up a little bit. Alright, so I have a lot of high hopes for these guys for the shooting phase here. I think the Dark Eldar can win this still. Maybe. I think they can. Okay, so the Venom and the Talos, between the two of them, took out the small grouping of gene stealers that used to be right there. And the Scourges did a little bit of damage to the Broodlord. Alright, nobody's close enough to charge. I don't think these guys want to really deal with melee combat right now. These guys do. Alright, that'll make it the Tyranid turn. Let's see if these guys can kill off the Dark Eldar. Alright, so the Gene Stealers and the Broodlord that were kind of near each other have moved over here like this. These guys that were over on the castle have way advanced over here and ended up in this nice little triangle. The Broodlord is going to attempt to manifest Onslaught on the Gene Stealers here that advanced. Okay, dice just decided to jump onto the floor. We'll ignore that and reroll. Alright, so that's a 3, so he doesn't get the Onslaught. So those guys don't get to charge. That's fine, that's fine. Alright, so the Broodlord is going to try and charge into the Venom. And these Gene Stealers are going to make a really long charge, hopefully, into these Scourges. And these guys just have to watch. Alright, good times. Alright, nobody made their charges and nobody took any damage in Overwatch. Fair enough. Well, I mean, it was nice of the Tyranids to move over so that they're all like in a line now. Alright, so that'll make it the drukhari turn. I'll say it this time so I don't forget. So they're saying this turn is no morale checks. Okay. The only ones that have had to make morale this game, I think, thus far have been the Incubi, and they actually managed to make it the first time, so... Either way, movement. So the Incubi and the Talos are the only ones that are moving this turn, and they just got closer to the Gene Stealers. If I'd thought about it, I would have brought like a Shadow Seer or something along so these guys could at least see Psychers happening, even if they can't do them themselves. Either way. Drukhari shooting phase. Hopefully these guys can kill off the Gene Stealers. Alright. The Talos managed to kill 2 of the Gene Stealers over here. The Venom killed another one. out of this grouping, and 5 of them out of that grouping over there. Unfortunately, the Scourges didn't actually manage to wound any of those guys, which kind of sucks. So for charging, the Incubi and the Talos will charge into the Gene Stealers. Alright, things are looking really, really bleak for the Tyranids. The Talos and the Incubi charged in there, killed off the Gene Stealers in that grouping, leaving just the Broodlord and this one remaining Gene Stealer. It is their turn. Alright, so I guess suicidal charges are how it's going to be. The Gene Stealer hopped up in here to take on the Scourges, and the Broodlord is moved over to take on the Incubi and the Talos. He's going to try to manifest Smite first, which he gets with an 8. It goes into the Incubi since they're the closest. Does 3 damage, which is unfortunately enough to kill off the last Incubi and the Clayvex. So the Broodlord will charge into the Talos, and the Gene Stealer will charge into the Scourges. We'll see how if this is a last charge kind of death thing for these guys, or maybe they can pull something out. Here's to hoping. I am super surprised. Like, they both made their charges. I'm surprised this guy didn't die in Overwatch. He did kill 3 of the Scourges and didn't die, even though one of them does have an Agonizer. These guys kind of are in this weird big giant brute force battle thing. Neither one killed the other one, but they did a crap ton of damage to each other. And it is the Dark Eldar turn. They get the fear tactic thing, where for every unit within 6 inches, it's a -1 to the other faction. You know, the units that they're surrounding, it's a -1 leadership. Which will make it the movement turn. Alright, I'm taking a chance here. The Scourges and the Talos have fallen back. And I'm going to hope that the Venom can kill off the Gene Stealer and the Broodlord. It does have 2 guns, so it's possible to do this. I guess we're going to see here in a second if the Venom can do it. Alright, so the Venom did indeed kill off this Gene Stealer over here. But the Broodlord actually managed to save. He's got 1 health and he still managed to save. It's like amazing how much Tyranids just refuse to fucking die. Alright, well, it's his turn. Yeah, he's not going to move. He can charge the Talos from there. I'll go ahead and try and manifest Smite on the Talos. Gets it on an 8. You know, that 3 damage is enough to kill it. Well, it is 12 inches away from the Venom. I guess we can try and charge the Venom. Yeah, he didn't make the charge. And he did save against the 2 wounds from Overwatch. Tyranid dice, I swear. That'll be the drukhari turn. I gotta measure something real fast. Alright, I had to move the Scourges up a little bit so they'd be within range to just shoot this thing. The Venom is well within range to shoot. Yeah. So we're gonna try, I guess, for the 3rd round in a row to try and kill this fucking Broodlord. Shooting phase. And Jesus Christ, Drukhari, you'd think poisoning this thing by now would have just killed it. Maybe that's that adaptation stuff kicking in. It's a wonder that I didn't wake up my girlfriend just now. I literally failed to save on the Broodlord and then did this little hop skippity jig hop. I don't know. It was a weird thing with my legs where I jumped up in the air and said, "Finally!" really loudly. Oh, it was stressful kind of. So yeah, the Drukhari fought off the bug invasion, although it cost them very dearly to do so. Just a venom and a couple of scourges being the only survivors here. So that was fun. I do like putting things up against the tyranids because they're like the universal bad guy. A little bit more up in your face, perhaps, than the Necrons are. It was nice to see these guys actually win a game. It's been a while since I saw that. I mean, they almost won against the Eldar last time, and if there'd been another Talos, perhaps, for Drukhari, they probably would have been able to take the Wraith Lords, but these guys did a pretty decent job at holding out here, so this was enjoyable. If you made it to the end of the video, I do appreciate it. I know that I can sometimes ramble on, and it may not always make sense. For that, I do apologize. But yeah, I do enjoy putting games on the old YouTube. Thanks again, and have a wonderful day.